Welcome once again to the program. I am Tom Connors. It is that time. We're only a couple minutes late. It's time for Midnight's Edge After Dark. Welcome to the program. We have with us CC Karaoke the Bard. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. RV's in the shop, so I'm in the city for a little while waiting for it to get
Background
repaired.
there. You're like the male Grace Randolph right now. So, I'm Canadian.
I mean, it's sad but true. The background's probably pretty similar.
He's a metropolis.
It is kind of, although I think she's in New York, but yeah.
This is not New York. In fact, it's a long way from New York, like philosophically and otherwise. But it's still a city, which I'm not used to. So, it is what it is. Can't
so you're
complain.
A little out of your element then.
Yeah, I'm totally out of my element. Driving around like, haven't been here in like a year. So yeah.
Zontar says Vancouver isn't really Canada.
Also true. Yes.
I guess he agrees with that. And Nick has become a member, I guess.
Hey,
again.
Member.
I had an issue last month. I know.
Oh, no.
And not only do I need to be a member again, I could be twice your member.
32 members.
I think you just made me calm.
He's a member of 32. He's a 32-inch member.
Oh, Lord. That's a BBC member there.
Dude, right? Dude, Drew would be jealous of that one.
Big bad cock.
Every time I go into my employer, I'm just like, man, I need some BBC in the morning. Where's the big black coffee? You want to talk about getting people off guard?
Bad black coffee. They all work, Yeah, well, thank you, ActionCom. Yeah, Andre and I put a lot of work into that video.
Yep.
So we appreciate that.
21 minutes of it.
It took me like 2 days to edit it. It was not fun, but
very informative. Yeah. Very informative video. Go watch it after the show, people.
Yes,
save it on your to watch later tab because it was an excellent video, and I learned a bunch of things that I didn't know. And that's always good when you come on the other side. Like, oh, I learned something new today.
Yeah. Well, we also have joining us Mr. Clobbering Time. How you doing?
Hey, good to see you, man. Thank you for having me, Tom. Good to see you, CC, and my great buddy Nick. And wonderful chat. How you doing out there, my brothers and sisters and geeks and gamers and clobbers and Tommers and Midnighters and everyone else? I got carried away. Sorry.
We're glad to have you and all of our Orange Rock friends like yourself. And we have a yellow shirted,
yellow submarine,
bearded, haired individual. Hi.
Sorry.
Is that yellow or green? It looks yellow on my end.
It's yellow. It's yellow.
Okay, I just got to make sure because usually sometimes it gets weirded out. But yeah.
Yeah. No. It's a yellow shirt.
Culture Casino's here.
Hi,
we're in that sunshine yellow shirt.
Yeah,
I'm really enjoying the stock decline of Disney today. It was a lot of fun.
Oh yes, we're gonna get into that, and also we're gonna get into 32 flavors of Nick Weiser. All 32 of them.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to get all up in your crevices.
Oh, yeah.
It went down 8.73%.
I'm doing good, man. Happy to be here. Of course, Culture, even though I told him not to come, he chose to come anyway. So I guess I'll accept the splurge and all. Hello to our chat and our wrenches. And of course, to having CC, Clobby, CC Karaoke, and of course, Mr. Tom Connors. Yeah, obviously we got some big news today to talk about, and it's definitely been quite the ride watching this whole thing unfold in the last few months. I can't imagine where we're going to be in a few months from now, but I'm ready to talk about where we're at now with it.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. Hopefully, Valiant or WDW Pro or one of those guys is able to join us here soon to kind of help us break down the Disney's earnings call. Since Mikey, I don't think is going to make it. We're not going to have a money man here tonight, but we do have Culture Casino, who is close enough. He's not a financial advisor, but he does know how to count.
Sometimes
He's got 10 fingers and 10 toes.
Yeah, but for whatever reason, I can only count to 4.
That's weird.
Yeah. I can only count to 4. I can only.
Did you go to community college?
Only count to 4. Anyway, sorry, no. The puppet.
There are 4 lights
Yeah. No, that song, right? That puppet version of that song is just always gets stuck in my head. I can only count to 4. I can. Anyway, yeah. See knows what I'm talking about. Which is one of my favorite Deadpool songs, right? But anyway,
Did they really do that on Sesame Street? Seriously?
No, some guy did a puppet, a Muppet.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say because I could actually see that Sesame Street doing that.
Well, but it's a whole puppet thing. It's the entire song. It's fantastic, and Snowdub actually will play it on his channel from time to time. So.
It's like I love the Sesame Street version of Two Princes. Have you ever seen that with Spin Doctors?
That's really good. Yeah.
Some of those are just kind of like, really? They went that far? Okay, they took it literally, but like the princely racket is literally a racket, like a tennis racket.
Well, see, that's okay. So this is what like the neo-Marxists don't understand about comedy, like. Taking somebody who's like literally when they're not being literal, that's a joke. That's part of humor, right? You can take their sarcasm and turn it on its ear by just taking them seriously, like it's a bona fide compliment if it's that or something like that. And again, it's where the wokey wokes don't get things anymore. Anyway, regardless, I didn't mean to take us off the track, but I will be able to say this: money.
It's what I want. Dun, 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 dun.
Disney's losing money.
Good.
The best things in life are free,
Boom, boom, boom.
but you can keep that for the birds and bees. Oh, come on.
We just want some money.
Oh yeah,
that's what you want.
Oh yeah. 16-bit mascot says, "Cheers, fellas! Hail the chat." Yes, indeed, hail the chat.
Beers.
Hope you're all having a great week. Well, we're doing the best we can so far. We're doing the best we can.
It's almost over, though, isn't it?
It's getting there. We are almost through our first week in May.
Ooh. First full week.
Yeah, first full week of May. Or no, actually, well, yeah, I guess you're right, because it did start Monday last week.
Oh, you want to hear some good news?
Sure.
Okay. The Last of Us Season 2.
For real?
Well, it's not completely over. They just hit the pause button.
I was gonna say.
Darn.
I got everybody excited.
You did.
I'm sorry.
Bro.
Not so much excited. I was just surprised. I'm like, okay, I can see a lot of these crappy shows getting the shit can because we've already seen a few.
Yeah.
But they're going to hang on to the ones that they have to hang on to for dear life.
Yeah.
Like they're so desperate, they're keeping that Walker Texas Rangers show going.
Yeah, but they got rid of the spinoff.
Walker, Texas.
There was a spinoff?
Something in the world.
Yeah, that was my next point. Yeah,
a Walker spinoff. Yeah, I can't look in look. We're going to talk about this because I know I put the story in the show chat, but we got to talk about late night shows at some point.
We can start there since we don't have anybody else with us yet as far as the financial side of things.
That's fine. Yeah.
You brought this to my attention, although it's been talked about ever since the strike hit, that all the night shows are halting.
Right.
And the last time we had a writer's strike, they didn't halt. They just went on without a monologue, basically, or any bits. But this time they couldn't do that. So I don't know if that just tells us that even the chat segments are scripted now too, or what?
They have to.
Yeah.
As bad as they are and as woke as they are, they have to be.
Yeah.
Probably. So Culture, tell us what's going on here with these late night programs.
Well, so the late night programs have all been put on hold indefinitely until the writer's strike is over, because obviously you have a bunch of comedy writers that put everything together from the monologue all the way through probably many of the conversations that we see, any of the skits, any of the ideas that you see on Fallon. That's all the result of an 18 to 25 person writer room. And yes, there's that many people writing for these shows. It's ridiculous. But I'm going to say this. From the story, do you have the article up? Yeah. Writers strike benches late night shows, but critics say they won't be missed. They are too polarizing and too predictable. And both of those statements are true. Experts tell Fox Digital a prolonged writer's strike could do even more damage to the already weakened late night audience. See, they at least they acknowledge the fact that nobody's watching this crap, at least in the the headline there. So while several TV shows have halted production, perhaps the most stunted sector of showbiz is late night, which has been airing reruns since last Tuesday. Among the shows impacted include The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, which is just a propaganda commercial for Pfizer. The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon, which is just a political show for a small section of society. The Jimmy Kimmel Live Show, which is a false leftist outrage show. And Late Night with Seth Meyers, which I didn't even know was still on. The Daily Show, which I think it has like random hosts now, and Real Time with Bill Maher, which sometimes is occasionally entertaining. Last week, Tonight with John Oliver and Saturday Night Live, nobody's going to even know that those are missing, to be fair. But Newsbusters managing editor Chris Houck told Fox News Digital that late night shows have become group therapy sessions for, well, liberals during the Trump era and well into the Biden presidency. And I have to say, well, I don't know about liberals, but I know about like the touched in the head therapy sessions. Indeed. The media try to make us feel this way, but does anyone actually miss the Late Show or the Daily Show? No. In fact, it might actually improve people's mental health, to be fair. That's me adding that. Late night comedy quickly pivoted to becoming hashtag resistance television days after the 2016 presidential election, when SNL star Kate McKinnon dressed up as Hillary Clinton, sat behind a piano and performed a somber rendition of Leonard Cohen's Hallelujah in the cold open. There was no punchline. It was plainly an expression of mourning that Clinton lost the election. Well, sure, because again, they were all heavily invested in the first female.
One of the most tone deaf things on television ever, in an era of the most tone deaf ever.
Yeah.
Yep.
But obviously, they talk about Rob Schneider, calling that particular moment out. Stephen Colbert obviously soared to the top of late night because of his blistering monologues attacking the Republican president. That was the first time he was able to surpass Jimmy Fallon, who is kind of a milquetoast host. So, yeah. Anyway, it goes on and on to describe what their various skits and things they did to attack Trump, but of course they don't attack anybody else. With Houck basically saying if the strike goes on for months, we could be reaching if a tree falls in the forest territory, which is basically saying, is anybody going to notice? And I think we're already there. I mean, arguably, I would say that nobody misses these shows. They have all turned into YouTube. They found better satire and entertainment here. I mean, just look at Tom Connors and Nick, 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser. And for your musical host, you have CC Karaoke. And
I do voices.
You do. And if you look for the amazing informational encyclopedic knowledge of comics, you got that covered too with Clobberin' Times. But like I said, YouTube is only going to grow during the writer's strike. This isn't going to get settled anytime soon. We are looking at 3-month territory because nobody's going to want to pull the trigger until after either the Directors Guild or both the Directors Guild and the Screen Actors Guild settle their deals. Because this pie can only be divided up in so many ways. And the studios, with all 3 of those contracts coming up simultaneously and 2 minor ones involving the Teamsters, they don't want to give away too big of slices of each of those pies, right? So we'll have to see what happens. I fully expect this to take a long, long time. And I fully expect a possible death of late night television.
Well, that's a good question. So let's go around the panel, since I think that's the real question. I'm going to let you all put your executive hats on. And what do you do right now once we come out of this strike and you're like, you know what, this late night gig just ain't working anymore? What do you replace it with? Nick, you're in command. What do you put on the air?
Toxic Tuesday on Tuesday night, yelling at parked cars. The late edition. That's what I put on YouTube.
Cheater.
I know it's a safe example, but No, for real though. There's so much great, like the quality of YouTube stuff, the way people make things on YouTube, whether it's a commentator or a YouTuber, or where they're doing like full on editing. There's so much stuff there that warrants the replacement of television. Like if whether it's something I want to talk on a legal basis, we have a whole law community. Obviously, if there's great food channels, if I really want to go to food, I could go to One Bite Pizza Review from Dave Portnoy. If with sports, obviously we have people within our whole fellowship that have sports channels, and there's also just all the mainstream ones. We have all the grounds covered. It's freaking excellent.
Yeah.
Clobby, what would you do if you had control over the late night TV program?
Well, I would probably look at, if you're going to try to, if you're saying, are we still going to stay with those types of time slots and try to fill them up with something that
Yes.
would work?
Yeah.
I'd probably go after some real comedians and then get them to host. Doesn't have to be variety shows. Doesn't have to be talk shows where they talk to idiot celebrities. But I probably go, because it is late at night, people like to kick back and relax, even if they are watching television at all. And I would try to go after some actual comedians that want to make people laugh and do some more shows that are, I guess you could do interviews and stuff. If anyone even watches that stuff anymore, I'm sure no one cares. And I know it's political and that damaged it, but does anybody really want to see that stuff? I mean, we're never going to go back to Johnny Carson or even back Letterman when he was funny in the 80s. But if you try to maybe recapture some of that, maybe. But I don't know other than probably look into some alternative type of programming that would be just get away from this talk show stuff. Do something else. I don't know. But comedy, maybe more, lighthearted comedy with comedians that have a pair that will like to make people laugh. I'd say.
That's a good point, because that's kind of where I was going to head to. I was going to say do more of just straight up variety. No like host interview bullshit. Have just kind of like Star Search used to be, where you just have a couple comedians, you have a couple musical acts, stuff like that. That's the kind of thing I think, like a variety show kind of thing. What do you think, CC?
Why does every one of them have to be about interviewing celebrities also? I mean, in other words, you can have that. You can have that. But why does every one of them have to be doing the same exact thing? That's another problem too.
No,
how many of these whole shows are all about telling lame ass jokes, being political, and talking to idiot celebrities? All of them are
to reaffirm the same talking points.
Yeah.
Now CC's background works perfectly here. You're the executive. What do you do?
Well, the question is, how much power do I even have as an executive? I mean, do I have absolute power here, or do I still have to play by absolute power?
Absolute power.
Well, cable television has been in decline for many, many years, because it's just not interesting enough anymore. There's better stuff, as we've talked about. Whether I would go to YouTube or not, maybe. But if we're talking from a cable television standpoint, as taking something familiar within that context without going too far outside of the realm, I would try to get back to just like the concept of late night comedy, not necessarily just a talk show, but like stuff like Married with Children or All in the Family or MASH, trying to look back at some of those absolutely astoundingly excellent half-hour television shows that aren't necessarily really expensive to produce, particularly those that are on a simple set but are well written and are not confined by what you can and can't say politically, that are maybe more apolitical but just kind of relatable, like a Married with Children. That's just a you know what I mean. It doesn't have to be politically correct, and I would go there. I would certainly be willing to look at independent talent, which I think is woefully underutilized right now. There's so much incredible talent out there, and just because you're not in the club, you don't get to be seen. I mean, it's like you look at the theaters right now. It's you're spending $250 million to put on some big blockbuster movie when there's talent enough in North America alone that there's probably dozens of better movies that could be filling that slot for a whole lot less money right now. So I'd be looking to penny pinch, but penny pinch with the highest level of quality. That's what I do.
All right. Well, Culture, I leave it to you since you're the man that brought us the story. What would you do to revamp late night? You're muted.
He'll be back.
I'll be back.
You
Oh yeah,
Jerk.
BRB. There you are. Yeah.
We'll
I guess that's what culture
just
would do.
say
He just
he wants to
Alright.
replace it with YouTube.
I guess
Man,
we're just replacing it with MASH and Cheers
yeah,
reruns.
I'm game.
I guess that's what
oh
we'll
yeah,
do.
that'd be a success, man.
Yeah.
Yep.
Does anyone even care about watching stupid celebrities be interviewed anymore? It was fun. Part of that, the charm of that was a good interviewer like a Johnny Carson or even Letterman when he was funny way back when. In other words,
Right.
they're just interviewed by sycophants and punks and idiots and unfunny jerks, and it's not that big of a deal. Part of that was watching Johnny Carson interview somebody. That was just as big a deal for that, and that was when we had a lot. Celebrities were far more interesting back then. Anyway, they're not interesting now, but that was part of it. You don't have anyone who's really who could sit there, and go toe to toe with a big celebrity and make it funny, make it fun. You just don't have that anyway. You got Jimmy Kimmel.
Yeah.
Well, you also don't have a whole lot of celebrities, right, Clobby?
Yeah.
Oh, now he's back.
I'm
People
sorry.
that That's what I'm
So-
saying. Culture. Does anyone really care about to even watch any of that kind of stuff anymore?
I
Since
don't
the
know.
interviews aren't interesting.
Well, right, and you can add any of those late night skit shows to it, right? Tom and I have been calling out Saturday Night Live since I've been on this platform, and Tom probably before that. Let's be fair. But I'm not intrigued by the interview skills of any of these people because it's all coached. It's all talking points.
Right.
It's worse than it used to be when the actors had handlers. That's how bad it is.
And he's respected Carson. It's like, so you've got a new book out. I've just read it, and it's really fascinating. And I'm sorry, but you know what I mean. They loved Johnny, and Johnny was great.
Yeah,
at doing it, and he was one of the best.
Yeah, and by the way, your voice, you just nailed Carson. Well done.
Oh, thank you. That friend of mine hates that one. My Johnny Carson impression.
Well, I enjoyed it. I think it's very good. Yeah.
You are correct, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, that's the question on the table culture. What would you do? You got the power. What do you do to fill that time slot now?
Anything else? Seriously.
Easy answer.
Anything else? No. Okay, so seriously, you know what you do? You start up a TikTok show or a YouTube show or a Rumble show, and you feature like the funniest bits from Rumble for the day. Or trust me, first of all, you partner with a platform, they will love you long time, right? And they'll probably help you offset the cost of the show. You need no writing whatsoever. You just need a host who can speak extemporaneously, and you're good to go. You can hire somebody like me. I don't need writers. I talk fast for, 12 minutes a day, sometimes longer. And sometimes Tom lets me talk on my own show. So, yeah.
Sometimes.
But honestly, I think you could do almost anything else. I mean, you could bring back America's like stupidest people or America's dumbest criminals, or there's 1,000 different concepts.
That's on C-SPAN, by the way.
Right. But indeed,
Bad boys.
But realistically, you don't need writers for any of those clip shows. You just don't. You need a host that is capable of doing extemporaneous things and doesn't require writing.
You know what I would watch? Extreme Cops.
Sure, me too. Yeah.
I already do on YouTube.
But you understand my point. Like, that's what I just said. YouTube naturally replaces everything that the linear television is giving you in a written show. You don't need it.
Dude,
You
late night culture, but on Friday nights, late night culture on Saturday night. I'd watch it.
Why not? And that's the whole thing. Tonight I'm going to be on a show that everybody is going to laugh their heads off at. I'm Thursday Night Throwdown. And I'm on a show that Tom and everybody here makes very entertaining. And you get a lot of news and information. Look, we inform each other better than any of the propagandists do. Let's just be fair and honest about it all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Absolutely. Well, let's get into some super chats, and then we'll probably talk some Disney business.
Misery, the misery index. The Disney misery index. Isn't that what that is? The MDI, like the DMI. So you've heard of DEI, We have the DMI now.
16-bit. I think we got this, but I'm going to read it again anyway. Cheers, fellas. Hail the chat. Yes, indeed. Hope you're all having a great week. Like I said, I think we're doing the best we can. Then ActionCom says, has anyone done any reporting on the CIA agents Paul Helliwell and William Wild Bill Donovan, who were the architects of the Disney Florida purchases? Not that I know of offhand. That's a good question.
I've actually talked about this, that they basically ran a CIA playbook to make the Disney Florida thing happen so that they could, and also so they could get Reedy Creek together in the first place. It was all based on
culture.
CIA. Yeah, it was all based on a CIA playbook. So that's 100% right. I don't think anybody's done anything exceptional on that I can recall. One of the Disney channels that does a really good job on things, I think, kind of touched on it. But I really think we could do an in-depth story on this, Tom, if you ever wanted to. It's a very
if not, it's definitely up like your or Pro or VR's.
It's perfectly. This is a Jonas and Pro, like, perfect thing. But I think you and I could do it justice if we spend a little time putting it together. So.
Never know. We got Fire Knight who says, I just want to know why Tom is in the puppet commercial on the left. There's a puppet commercial on the left. What?
Ooh. I can only count to 4.
What puppet commercial on the left?
Well, you have to remember, you did a bit with Melinda.
Oh, I don't talk about her.
Okay.
Who?
I can only count to 4.
I don't know who that is.
She's scary.
Don't you have that clip?
No, I don't.
Well, I might have that clip.
You probably have that clip.
Oh.
What?
I love that.
Oh, boy. And I just want to say thanks to all of you. I know it may not be my place, but thank you for taking care of one of our own and the Salty Nerd podcast crew.
I gotta thank you this morning, personal one from Matthew.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Look, guys, you made a huge difference in a space where we are just having fledgling ties now in these studio spaces. So you're going to start seeing more of these pop up in various states, I predict. And you guys made a huge difference for that crew who had been putting their heart and soul into that for 2 years. So thank you for helping them recover, and congratulations to them for getting it, for getting them back on their feet so they can, help others, which is kind of Matt's jam, to be fair.
Yeah, Fire Knight, whatever you meant to say, you don't have to super chat.
No,
just
mention it.
Just say it in the chat, and we'll get to it. 16-bit says again, cheers and hail chat. Hope you're having a badass week.
Woo. There you go.
It's badass.
Do you have super chat clips?
No, I'm not like you where I waste 10 hours on my show on doing clips.
Yes. Super chatter is a waste of your time?
No, but clips are to sit here and go through like 12 clips every time.
Like
that's why for the members, we'll do the puppy stickers or whatever you want to call them, like lazy puppy. But see, we can talk over those too, unlike yours that are just far too many and they get out of hand real fast.
Boy, that escalated quickly. I mean, that really got out of hand fast.
I mean, if we're going to be fair here, we're not going to top the showdown the little Tokyo clip that I have on my channel. Anytime I get a direct,
you have the biggest dick I've ever seen on a man.
Ever seen on a man.
And that time I heard you coming. See, they're quick to the point.
Yeah, they're quick.
Yes. See, like they're
to the point.
We don't know what Wicked's saying there, but it's probably pretty badass.
You said chucha.
What does that mean?
Chucha.
No, you got to translate that shit. You got Google Translate? Exactly. But yeah, we'll check into that ActionCom Fire Night. I got to look for you again in the chat here. What did you say?
I just want to know why Tom is in that puppet commercial on the left.
Yeah, but he was I thought I'm not sure what he means.
He's supposed to send you a thing in the chat. Did you look at the thing in the chat?
I didn't see anything yet. June Wong It says
Wong.
just replace late night with anime.
Oh, hey, Jin
Stop
Wong.
it.
Well, that'll work. Jin Wong, reach out to me. I need some new art.
Wow.
Nice.
Okay.
There you go.
Then Randall Orser's been a member for 7 months at the maximum effort puppy level and says, what about something like Midnight Special, Bandstand, Soul Train? That's exactly what I was kind of thinking too, Randall. That's what I was saying. So like Star Search used to be basically.
Oh, wait.
Right.
Okay, so
We just
you
have a variety
writers.
show.
Yeah, I mean, and again, you don't need writers. You need a host and with a brain.
No, you just have comedians come on to run their 5-10 minute bits.
Yeah.
Then you have a commercial. Then you have a band come on.
Yeah,
Or you play
yeah.
a music video or something like that. Then you have a commercial.
Why does it have to be 5 and 6 of them anyway? Just like it used to be, there was Carson, there was then later with Letterman. You know, you had Tom Snyder.
Yeah.
But in some networks showed movies and TV and shows.
How about
stuff?
Clobby? How about this? Tom and I host a show called This Week's Best.
Excellent.
Yeah, and then we just we pick the best from the week.
It used to be like news alternatives on the other channels.
I don't want people that are clothed.
I said news.
Oh, I misheard you.
I like CBS late night when they would show cool old shows and stuff.
Yeah.
And that was a long
I
time
tell you
ago.
what, how about some Super Marionation clips with Tom revoicing over this stuff? How about we get like 4 people together and we have some Super Marionation thing and we revoice the thing?
What?
We mute the marionettes, the puppets, and then we voice over on top of it because then it can be completely out of context.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Late Show. I'm Dirk Diggler.
I see that. They all talk like this.
Now here's Burt Reynolds.
And they pop up and down.
No, but we don't. I think the thing that's missing most, speaking of Saturday Night Live, this almost comes like as a perfect kind of cross section here. I wasn't watching the new Saturday Night Live the other night. I was watching Saturday Night Live from 1980.
Oh yeah,
hosted by Burt Reynolds.
Oh,
and who was a huge guy back in the 80s and 70s. He would go on the talk shows and they would love it because he would just, put on a show, right? Like these guys, you had these few guests once in a while. They don't have that kind of camaraderie.
Larger than life.
Exactly. Jim Carrey used to do it once in a while. When he'd come out, you never knew what the hell he was going to do. Robin Williams is great for it. Exactly. I mean, even Siskel and Ebert, when they would get those two on, that was usually some of the best bits ever. Especially when those two would just start fucking bickering, and then Carson would just sit there and do like one of those.
Yep, he would do me.
Yeah, he'd just sit there and do that while they're bickering. That would always get a laugh. Or, and Chevy Chase was always sometimes one who would do some funny bits too. Like, you just don't have those kind of people, it seems like, anymore. And they don't have that kind of camaraderie. I think as I said earlier, is that like, as I was joking, but I mean, I'm half-assed not joking about what? Do they sit there and write all the guest segments out too? And it's getting to that point because they can't let anything flow. You can't let anybody just be natural anymore. And it's just, it's a reason problem.
Tom, there's a reason why Pluto TV and these other ones rerun old Carson shows all the time. They're fascinating if you ever land on one of those. And Carol Burnett and things like that. Those are 40-year-old shows and such, and they show them all day long.
The boss and I watch Carol Burnett show.
Carol Burnett too, great show.
Yeah. We do that on purpose because it's still good. It's still funny. See, timeless humor exists. It just doesn't exist in this world at the moment. They don't know how to do humor anymore. I blame Tom.
But I mean, it used to be a big deal when, certain people would come on the late night shows, right? Like, I remember when I was a kid, like, Carson was on every night.
Yeah.
Like, it was every night. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
Like,
to the late 80s when he kept missing time and let other fill-ins, but
regardless, in my household, like my dad was a sports guy, but outside of sports, he only had a few shows that he didn't miss. It was like All in the Family, MASH, Cheers,
nice.
and late night with or the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson, right? Like those were the mainstays that my dad would always make sure he was watching, no matter what. Like it's just.
Yep. Don't miss television.
He was never a big fan of Leno and Letterman when they came in.
Yeah, Letterman was great in the '80s for a while there, but Leno I never got into either. I needed Johnny.
I always liked Letterman, but I think the assessment was right, is that he just had a totally different audience.
Yep.
Than what Johnny did. And Leno just
and he
was
wanted to
not
be Johnny too.
That guy, right? Like, yeah, well, and Leno just wasn't that guy. He's that annoying. Leno is that annoying Weasley suck up, right? Like, he's that guy that is always hanging out with the boss. He's like, yeah, you're absolutely correct, boss. Yep,
Right. I see. Yeah,
that's perfect. Yeah. It's a great idea. I wish I had thought about it myself. That's Leno. You just want to. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, CC. And you just want to punch him in his face. And it's like, it's not that I think the guy's a bad guy or anything. I'm sure I've heard a ton of stories about how nice he is and everything, but he's just that guy. He's not the guy you want to watch on the Tonight Show.
No.
He's not a Johnny Carson type. I mean, they tried to find somebody like that. They couldn't find it. The closest they probably ever had was when Joan Rivers would probably come on, but she got so opinionated, they wouldn't let her loose anymore.
Man, they had so many different people sit in for him, though. That was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna say the most famous being either her, probably Steve Martin, and of course Leno was always supposedly popular, but I don't get it.
I don't understand why Leno got that. I mean, they didn't want to move David Letterman because he was too popular.
No, and David and Conan have the same type of audience at the end of the day.
Yeah,
really. They're the same kind of humor.
Sure.
Conan was the perfect replacement for Letterman, but Letterman should have never left that spot, to be honest with you. I hate saying it now in hindsight. He was not ready for prime time. He was not what the primetime middle America people wanted to see. I like David Letterman. I think he's hilarious, but a lot of other people just did not get his shtick. And I think Conan suffered from the same problems. But at the end of the day, I don't know who the answer would have been. But yeah, there's just
me. I'm the answer.
No, well, I mean, at that time, somebody who could fill
you were a bit young at that time, though.
Of somebody like Johnny Carson. I mean, to be honest, I mean, the only bet maybe Regis Philbin at that time could have pulled it off.
I don't know.
But yeah, even a lot of people don't like him so much to where it's like, it's tough finding somebody where have you ever run into anybody who's like, I just don't like Johnny Carson. I don't ever remember saying, like, see, that's the thing is you have to find somebody where everybody's just kind of like, I guess you don't find anybody who doesn't like them really. And there's very rare and few people out there that you can say that about.
Very true. A lot of people don't like Letterman. Even back then when he was funny, there were people that just not everybody's taste, but everybody liked Johnny.
Klobby's right. I remember way back when I started learning about late night shows and who some of the big head honchos were. I remember the one guy my dad couldn't stand right off the bat was David Letterman. So and I remember that was way back when. So that actually does. That sounds like that rings a bell. So and I've heard that.
And then he got bitter.
Who even thought he was funny.
When he didn't get Johnny's job, he got really bitter and got really just went down the tubes.
Kind of, yeah. He started showing bitterness. This would be hilarious, though. I'd watch Conan the Barbarian late night show. Tonight on Conan the Barbarian the late night, we're going to learn how to rape and pillage villages. And we're going to learn how to do it with Martha Stewart. Hello, Martha. Hello, Conan. So tell us, Martha, what have you got for us today? Well, Conan, when you're going into pillage, it doesn't mean you have to do it with no style.
Wow.
How good was that?
It was very good.
Speaking of voices, Pilgrim Media wants me to critique Disney as a Cartman, huh?
I'd say, Disney sucks right now. I can't watch Disney Plus. It's really lame. Maybe I can buy Disney World really cheap. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
Crumb.
No, Disney Plus. That's a bad Disney Plus.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully you got your $2 worth there, Pilgrim. Pilgrim.
I got his $2 worth. Are you kidding?
The situation depends, says Walt, man. If the panel knows how to dance the natu. Also, it's weird not to weird not having to hear late night hosts talking about town halls. Oh God, they missed out on that last night.
But they would have loved that.
I don't want to get too much in on this, but look, I have never been a fan of that person per se, but I also will say that they have never given him a fair shake. And all these people out there who are going, oh, the whole thing was a fucking look. It's supposed to be a town hall for him, and you've got the host pushing against him through the whole thing. And then you got everybody on the other side going, well, nobody pushed against him. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? The whole thing, he never even got a chance to finish a sentence through the whole fucking show.
But it was all about, okay, so this is the thing I think you're trying to say. It was all a promotional stunt for Caitlin Collins taking over the 9 p.m. slot at CNN.
More or less.
It was. And that's why they cut
And
it
Trump
short.
took it. And he ran with it.
He did, and he's ungovernable, right? He's uncontrollable. You put him on a platform.
Do I agree with everything he said? Fuck no. But did he run away with that show? Fuck yes. They don't even have it on CNN. Did you notice that?
No,
they won't. They don't have it on. They got a couple of clips, and that's it.
Terrifying.
Speaking of late night show hosts. Just put someone
honestly,
like that on there and run
Trump
with it.
would be.
Exactly.
He'd be very divisive, though. That's the problem.
Yeah,
especially now.
But boy, would people watch.
You need somebody who doesn't come off as a greasy car salesman for a start. You definitely need somebody.
Unfortunately, Trump has that problem.
Yeah,
I don't know. Yeah.
But
well, and this is coming from somebody in the center, dude.
You know,
that's true. Wait a minute.
How much? This is my new show. It's huge. Shut up. I'm talking.
You're a nasty woman.
Please cut me down over here.
That's the moment he won the night right there when he just threw that in there with a jab, just like you know you're a nasty woman.
He wasn't wrong. He was being a C word. I mean, let's be fair.
I was too at that point. I'm like, bitch, let him finish a thought. Right? Like, look, I know the game. I'm an interviewer. I get yelled at all the time for this shit. Part of the game is you keep the conversation moving and make sure it's staying interesting. And especially when you're doing an interview specifically, people like to trail off. Okay? Especially when you got somebody like Trump who is going to control the conversation if you let him. Right? Let's not pick no bones about it. That motherfucker will take the reins and he will run with it and he will control it. Which is fine. I get it. What she was trying to do, she was in way over her head. She was in the shallow end and drowning. All right. And nobody was throwing her a life preserver at all. Okay.
No.
And Trump didn't even do anything that spectacular.
No.
But what he did do is just show her the nation that this chick ain't got the chops to be doing this shit. I'm sorry.
Well, they're gonna put her. They're going to put her in a time slot that she's going to get eaten alive. So
basically, but not to the dance. Paulie's the boy who knows how to do that dance.
It's a great dance. You know?
I still haven't seen that movie yet. I should watch it eventually.
What movie is that?
The
Oh, that one.
I better see it before SSSSS comes out.
Oh God!
Did you see all the letters before it though?
No, that's what I'm waiting. I don't want to sit through like another 16 movies before it or whatever. But yeah, Pilgrim says Conan was a heavy hitter writer on SNL. That's the thing. Yes, he was.
Simpsons.
And The Simpsons. And I love Conan. I actually loved Conan a lot. But I am the first to admit that he is a niche audience, right? Like he is the same kind of audience that Letterman had.
But they're dedicated. I will give him credit.
Oh, absolutely.
I've seen that audience. They will, whenever he's got some going, they will definitely turn out. And sometimes, having that loyalty is a good thing, even though it's not an audience that will not necessarily grow the biggest, but it's always going to be there. And sometimes having that good security is great especially for Conan, because there's many guys who just fade away. So I don't know. For me, I think that's great for Conan in that regard.
Actually, kind of asked what happened with that Lily singing spirit. Go ahead, culture use.
Wow, they slayed that lady. Oh boy, or whatever she is. They that was a failed experiment from the word go. She is screwed the rest of us, you folks that worked on these platforms, because she did such a poor job moving from the platform to network television. They're trying to resurrect her in another project right now, but that was doomed from the beginning. The ratings were never there. She appeals to a group of people that don't actually watch television, and so putting her on
Everything okay?
broadcast TV was a terrible decision. Thank you, Snail Messiah.
Snail.
What the hell? That was weird. Like culture,
What
like malfunctioned for a second there.
See what happens when you mess with
He had to reset. I was like, did he freeze or did
you timed that perfectly, butthead?
Wow.
Finish your thought before you read shit on the screen.
You're my best friend. Put that up.
We malfunctioned culture. That was hilarious.
I don't even know what happened.
He just reset. That's all. It's the shirt. Yeah. We've
We've.exe has an exception.
Wow.
Oh my god. Here in Weave.exe.
Run X.
Wow.
Wow, the numerator failed for a minute there. That's all that happened. Oh my god.
As long as you didn't have a stroke, okay? That's
No, but it's just like I'm talking and you go, smack. Thanks. Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. There'll be a little punishment for that later, Tom. It'll be all right.
I enjoyed that. I needed that laugh. Daryl Brewer's been a member for 21 months. Thank you for that, Daryl. And Zephyr has also been a member for 18 months. Thank you for that as well. We appreciate that here at the channel. And thank you for the mods for keeping up with the member chats. We appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, let's move ahead.
Yeah,
I was
let's see
hoping to
if
have Valiant or somebody here by this time, but
let's see if we can break Culture's brain again midstream.
well, Disney Plus is having some issues along with Disney in general.
Yeah.
The big news story
Nudes
is that they lost some subscribers.
Oh,
Yes.
no.
Yes. They lost some. They lost twice as many as last time.
Well, and it's not even so bad as that, because they thought they were going to gain 2 million in this quarter, and instead they lost twice that amount.
I have a button for that.
Yeah. Now, some people are saying, well, this is because of the what was it? The country they lost?
India.
India.
The India
Thank you.
Premier League, which
Now, wasn't that their excuse the last quarter, though?
it was their excuse 3 quarters ago for not having bigger growth because of when it happened. This was, look, you take the IPL was lost during Chapek's reign. That's how long ago it was.
Yeah, I was going to say, this is a while ago.
Yeah.
You guys were talking about this, longer than that. So yeah, they lost 4 million subscribers. And not only that, in the earnings call, it was there was a few other things brought up, but today it did not bode well for their stock, did it? Valiant had posted that I think it went as low as like 9.6 or something like that at one point.
Yeah,
I think it was.
I think the lowest is dropped 9.6%. It bounced back to 8.7.
Yeah, that's not good.
Well, it's that's billions of dollars. Shit.
A bit of a catastrophe, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, CC. Our market cap crashed. It was great. we're down to well, we're not doing as good as we were yesterday. Let's just say it that way. But yeah, their market cap declined substantially, and they've been getting hit pretty good every time they have bad news. And right now, it's a bad news fest. Of course, the entire market took a shit today, except for the Nasdaq. But I mean, they're now sitting in a market cap of 170 billion. Their previous close, listen up, kids, $101.14. From that close, yeah, they dropped in after hours trading yesterday to 94.80, and by the time they went to close today, well, it was down $8.83.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yep.
Now they can make up all the excuses they want, but I'm thinking that a lot of this had to do with them attacking the traditional family element, let's say. Anybody agree with that assessment?
Oh yeah, I wouldn't trust
definitely a
them
big
without.
issue if
I
you
wouldn't
do that.
trust any. If I don't have kids, but if I had them, I wouldn't put them in front of a Disney show without being in the room anymore.
I wouldn't trust Goofy to watch my kids now. That's how bad it's getting.
Gosh.
Goof Troop was
You
one of my
do
favorite
that?
shows growing up. That was the
Don't
best.
worry, kids. I won't groom you too hard.
That was good.
Yeah, I don't know. This is not good. Looking good for Disney, but it's kind of schadenfreude in a way, or how you say that. You know, they did manage to somehow find some money, though. But we have a theory to that, don't we, Culture, as to how they may have.
Find money, like the equivalent of going through your couch and finding quarters.
Well, their
but you can't
operating
go for a soda.
costs. They were able to bring down some of their operating costs, but I brought up the fact that, well, first of all, you laid off 7,000 people. So there's some money that you're saved. And then you've been releasing a lot of movies in theaters instead of straight to Disney Plus, like you were for almost 2 years there during the pandemic. So that's money that was, spent out to Disney Plus before that isn't anymore. So yeah, there's those factors. Culture
Guardrail money. Let's not forget
Well.
that, because Black Widow, not only did they not make money with that, but any money that they could have had potential making, along with what was coming out of Disney's wallet.
I don't know if they're counting that in
obviously
this
went to
part,
start
but
but if you pile it all on together, it's just another thing that adds to the greater picture of money being spent, lost, etc., etc.
Well, look, we know that streaming's not a financial windfall. It really isn't. It's been a giant money loser for everybody that's tried it. It took Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, it took Netflix nearly 2 decades to become profitable through the streaming side of things. They made money.
at least close to a decade,
well,
if not a
it's
little
just
more.
been a
That was
long
like
damn
12,
time.
13 years.
Something
Yeah, it
like
took them
that.
forever, right? And yet, Disney was trying to do it in 2 years during the pandemic. I think Tom mentioned that earlier today. But I look at it and I go, you're still losing $500 million plus on content creation on your streaming delivery. $500 million of empty. There is no way you're going to make Disney Plus profitable by 2024. No way.
Was anything mentioned, whether it was on the earnings, about the fact that Disney Plus, when they originally premiered back in 2019, they said that they would never remove content, but I did see it was announced today that they would start removing some content.
Oh yeah.
Well, they've never gone. The promise that Bob gave never was fulfilled.
No, we're gonna have.
He claimed that everything was going to be on there. It has never all been on there.
Nope.
He said it was
lied.
never going to leave. That was never true. Like they can't afford not to license this shit out anymore, right? Culture.
They can't because look, they discovered the same thing everybody else that's not Netflix discovered. If somebody's paying you to use your shit, it's better than making new shit. And Netflix was paying to use everybody else's stuff and deliver it on one streaming service. And Hulu a close second, right? Because Hulu was also doing a similar thing with a different mechanism. But outside of that, you create a walled garden. And for a lot of this content, a lot of the people who are big fans of you that are going to subscribe to your streaming service, they already own half this shit, if not more. So why are they subscribing to you? There's no point. You told them you were going to give them a back catalog. Do you know what you haven't seen on Disney Plus? The Black Hole. You haven't seen that. You haven't seen, I don't think you've seen the Black Cauldron. I don't think you've seen.
Actually, that has been on there. And I honestly, surprisingly, got a 4K restore, but
really?
That was
I didn't see it, so if it was on there, that's disappointing. But
it might have been pulled down by now, but yeah, it was for a short
that's disappointing. But there's a bunch of stuff they have not released. I mean, Escape from Witch Mountain, I didn't see that on there ever. They have a bunch of stuff that Disney put together that has never been on there. Bob Iger promised you in 2019 that everything would be on there. It never was. And you know what you didn't get? Song of the South. That's part of everything.
Never be on there.
Sweet potato pie and shut my mouth.
Even if they did, would it be worth it? Because they would just edit the crap out. You see the way that like all these programs that they put on there, like especially if it's original content, they don't release on physical media, so that way they could just change it whenever they want. Someone does a physical copy that they could fall back on.
They get
here's
called
my unedited
out.
version.
Yeah, they get called out constantly. What they don't want is that people that ever see that film and go, "Hey, you know what? This isn't racist."
Yeah, that's true. Much like Blazing Saddles,
People and much like
look at what's on the surface and then they just pitchforks and all.
Frankly,
really
Scarlett, I don't give a damn. Gone with the Wind and many, many other things that they want to edit because, modern sensibility bullshit. You know what you don't do with history? You don't edit history.
I actually don't believe in that modern sensibility thing. I truly believe it's just people who are very, very loud and powerful, and they have access to those powerful people. I don't think that because the whole modern audience. I'm starting. The more I see this stuff play out, I just feel like it's a myth. It's just a freaking myth.
The powerful people. The powerful people.
If I'm just putting on my couch executive hat here, the question that always comes to my mind is what's the obsession with having the biggest subscriber base? It's like that's the most important thing in the world. You're spending billions upon billions of dollars to create new content to have the most subscribers. It doesn't matter how many subscribers you have. It matters how much money you make. And if especially if you're Disney, and I mean, Netflix had an issue because they didn't have original content before they started making it. Disney had a huge backlog of all this great content, a giant catalog, which they made money selling. So there's obviously something to be considered there as far as, well, how much money are you going to lose from sales, physical sales, if you have a streaming network? But who cares if you have 100 million or 200 million subscribers? What if you only have 10 million? What does it matter? Because if those 10 million subscribers are paying you $10 a month and your cost to keep the service up is almost nothing, because it's the final location that new content goes. New content goes to the theaters first, and then it goes to other streaming services. It goes to video on demand, whatever it is. Then it goes to physical media. And some years down the road, it becomes a catalog on the live streaming service. And all you have to pay for is whatever the upkeep cost is for the servers. Then you should theoretically profit with a whole lot less subscribers than what you're trying to get, having the most in the world. And I've just never understood that whole philosophy. Like, let's just spend out our ass to have the biggest dong. Anyway, that's.
I mean,
like
that's
I said,
just business. That's corporate entities just trying to see who is about having the biggest dong, so they could say they're making more than the other. And it's also clear to a lot of these companies were trying to get out of the we don't need the movie theater mentality, and they thought like with the pandemic and all that would get people in the habit of staying home. But then once people had the option of going back, they realized, hey, you still need the theaters. And obviously these companies also, they just have people who aren't financially responsible. That's another thing too. I get if you want to make sales, there's nothing wrong being competitive. I think that's a good thing. I'm a big fan of the market and having the results play out. But it's just people who are spending non-responsibly. That's I think the real issue with having the subscriber count, because you could have that mentality and have good content, but you got to have your mindset in both sides of it. Although others just think, oh, as long as we have this, and that, we're good. But you got to make people want it, especially nowadays. Everything on streaming is basically we're so much closer to becoming basic cable. We're so much closer. You got to make people compete for it. And I'm not one of those guys who has every streaming service. I never understood that. I just, I just have a few and I'm good. I don't need to watch every service ever. Otherwise, then I'm at right where I left off with cable. At that point, what's the point? And I just swapped one evil for another.
I would argue we're getting darn close to where the streaming service costs actually exceed cable and satellite. Do you know why I'm saying it that way?
So basically a 360.
Yeah, because you actually have to have internet service to get the streaming services. So you're paying for an internet service on top of, so you're paying for a delivery method on top of a content. Whereas before you were paying for a delivery method on top of a content. You're getting a content.
Right. Even if I was paying $100 a month for cable out of the wall, I'm paying $150 for the internet. Exactly. And then for every streaming service on top of that.
Yeah, there's no win there. It's one of the reasons why fast services, CC, fast services, the free, the free ones, those are making bank now. That's why. And look, I mean, streaming losses narrowed by 26%. This headline is complete bullshit, right? It's still over $500 million. They cut out $200 million. Okay, so you're not losing $1 billion every quarter, right? But, the upside that they try to promote here is that their ARPU, which is the average revenue per user, is up. Well, no shit. You lost a bunch of people in India that were paying 70 cents a head for Disney Plus. No shit. Your freaking ARPU is going to go up. It went up because, you lost 2 million people in India in the previous quarter. No crap. Right? This quarter, you lost 4 million. Hundreds of thousands of subscribers in the United States says, eat a bag of dicks. You want to know what the next quarter is going to look like? Your ARPU is going to go the other direction. Fucking ignorance. Unbelievable. And you know what? The analysts figured that shit out yesterday, which is why you saw the stock price crash. Anyway, sorry. Just get upset about this stuff.
Don't be. I mean, that's really what it's all about at the end of the day. So we haven't gotten much else for super chats in between there, except for ActionCom, who says in Joe Pesci's voice, that was the last time YouTubers were ever given anything that valuable again. That's right.
That's from Casino.
Yes, it was.
By the way, one of my favorite films. I a lot of people give that a hard time, and I still think I've seen some of the best performances.
It is aged like fine wine. I didn't like it as much when it came out.
What?
Oh wow!
But
dude, wow.
You got 3 individual performances in
over
that
time.
Film.
I've learned to love it. Not quite as much as Goodfellas, but I do enjoy it.
Plus, James Woods delivered.
Goodfellas is a 10 out of 10 movie.
Oh man,
it's still a strong 9.3.
I don't know that there was anybody in that film that didn't deliver. It was really good.
Dude, Casino's so good. Man, that will be a future Toxic Tuesday. Oh, I can't wait when that one happens.
Count me in on that. Hey, and when you do Showgirls, let me know, Nick Weiser. I'll be there for that.
Showgirls.
Don't tell Mad Mart again, because he doesn't like it when there's shows with ladies involved.
I don't care. I just
I don't even know.
Mad Mardigan's favorite scene in Top Gun is the volleyball scene.
That says a lot about Mad Mardigan.
Yeah. I love the guy.
But
he just likes lubed up dudes. Maybe that came out wrong.
No, I think it came out as exactly.
I mean,
as
in
it
your
sounds.
words, you're not wrong. You're
Right.
not wrong.
I think people are going to take that the wrong way.
In other news, cancer got Dolph Lundgren
Oh,
and
shit.
is losing the battle.
Oh, no.
Dolph Lundgren said, "If it dies, it dies."
Oh,
Yeah. So no, he's been actually. We just learned that he's been battling cancer for 8
Oh,
years.
man.
He's been winning the battle thus far.
no.
So good
That's
news
awesome.
for that.
Good.
But yeah. So
Cancer
my
sucks.
joke isn't in poor taste at all. So
No,
sorry for those who
Can-
took it that way. But
Cancer sucks, and I want everybody to kick its ass.
Yes.
If it's the man with the biggest dick that anyone's ever seen is gonna kick cancer's ass, it's gonna be Dolph Lundgren.
Hey,
it
you know,
must break you.
I've had so many family members battle cancer and beat it back. I hope Dolph can do it. So sounds like he is, though. That's great news. Thank you, Tom, for giving us almost good news.
Yeah, well, I believe he's in remission now. Andre was doing a bit of research on it, so he may talk about it in the morning show. But yeah,
Cool. On the Midnight's Edge in the morning,
in the morning.
which I'm going to try to be there for a little while tomorrow. Is that okay, Tom? Can I hang out with you guys?
Thanks for the warning.
These are my friends.
These are my friends.
I need to
Soon
actually
I'll be
make a song called "These Are My Friends."
That's what I called the other one, but I need to write you a new one. Yeah, that one wasn't as good.
You got to write me a song. I write the songs that make the whole world sing. I write the songs of love and special things. I write the songs that make the young girls cry. I write the songs, I write the songs.
And the reason is not the reason you think why.
Uh-oh.
You know, it's amazing. You are 100% wrong. I mean, nothing you've said has been right.
Thank you. Once again, these are my friends.
Fuck cancer, indeed. We hope the best for Mr. Lundgren. In other news, though, things are not sounding so great for Jamie Foxx.
What?
We don't know exactly what's going on. We have had zero communication from either a family member or an agent or a publicist on him. But BET and a few other news outlets were running the story that his family is preparing for the worst. I guess he had a stroke, which was what happened here a couple weeks back. Now, I wasn't so sure if it was as bad as they were making it out to be at first, but the more and more silence from anybody in his camp we get, it just kind of is. It's not sounding good, guys. That's all I can say on that. I don't know if it's a accident or something else, but yeah.
No.
Oh, Jamie, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, he's only 55.
You realize
he's not old at all.
Yeah, you realize that every time they use obfuscating language, you know what that means. I mean, you know, a medical complication. You know, that was like from a week ago. You know, from a USA Today story. You know, Jamie Foxx is speaking out for the first time since he suffered a medical complication. He was on the set of a film, you know, and he wrote a brief post on his Instagram, I guess, saying, "Appreciate all the love, feeling blessed."
All right,
when was this? This is the first I've heard of this.
You didn't see the story from USA Today?
No, this is news to me.
Nudes? I don't have any nudes.
Oh my God, don't do that again.
What? You keep saying nudes. I put the link in the chat, Tom, so you can.
All right. So I guess that's the closest we've got to any kind of word, and that was from
a week ago.
A week ago.
Yeah.
And you can't even. Well, we don't even necessarily know if that was him or.
And that's the problem, right?
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, we don't know. We don't know. I have no reason to believe that's him. I have no reason to believe he can communicate at all.
I can. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's just it. I can't. Yeah. I guess we're going to have to go off that for now. Oh, and look who finally decides to show up after we just got done talking about the Disney crap.
I'm sorry. I know I got home at like 6 o'clock tonight. Just about been gone.
Exqueezes.
Yeah. What's up, harbinger of death? I mean, truth.
I'm whooped. I'm so tired. Ooh, it was hot today. We were
Well,
out,
we did talk a little bit about the 4 million subscribers lost.
That's primarily from India.
Oh, it is round 2 of India. Are you sure?
Not terribly surprising there. And I mean,
I thought they already lost those 3 years ago.
No, they still had some of those left. They still got about 50 million of those. But I mean, they did lose. I mean, what we brought up yesterday was 300,000 down in their U.S. and Canada, their North American core, and that is surprising. That's a retreat that people didn't see happening until it happened, and especially in a quarter when, you know, supposedly their biggest show on Disney Plus, Mando season 3, premiered. What happened? What happened? Well, I don't know.
Valiant, and see that I was trying to point out to the audience, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the reason that the ARPU elevated is because they lost so many people in India.
Yeah, so they quote. Yeah, they what they do is they have a. So on one side they'll report total ARPU, on another side they will report core. So basically, they'll report an ARPU figure that has India included and one that does not. So, yeah, overall, I mean, when you shed the subscribers that are only contributing, you know, $1 or less per month.
70 cents.
Yeah. I mean, I know it had gone up a little bit in the last few quarters. It got close to $1, I think, but really? Still, it's very little, you know. So, you know, that's a problem for them. And then, of course, a lot of other things affected them. Now, some of them, to be fair, as we stipulated on the show yesterday, were macro-level events. A lot of advertising revenue was off. But that is something that affected everybody. That affected Paramount, Viacom, CBS. That affected Warner Media. That affected Comcast. That affected everybody. So that's not something that we can, you know, toss at Disney and say that was just on them. It wasn't. Now, the other thing, of course, was they reported that park revenues were up, but in per capita spending was up. But if you look at the numbers, they're fairly in line with what you would expect, just due to, again, macro level inflationary pressures that we've seen year over year, right? They're up 7, 8, 9, 10%. Well, so's freaking inflation. So that's kind of where that's at. The surprise was that apparently the attendance was down a little bit year over year in the Orlando parks, it seemed, from what I recall. So that did not go over well, and especially in a time when Universal is just fixing to drop the mother of all bombs. I mean, on Disney with opening Epic Universe here in about a year and a half, 2 years, whatever. I think 2025. So,
they will have it open by 2024, according to one of my friends. So,
yeah, they look like they're trying to fast track it for sure. Yeah. I mean, they're really trying to burn through this because
it's going vertical.
Yeah, I mean, once they saw what they had with Mario at the box office, man, that was it.
Well, and then, you know, they got a great response on the miniature version of it of that in Hollywood, and of course they got a great response in Japan. So it's not like they didn't know what they were dealing with. Not to mention the fact that they are going to get very aggressive with that Texas construction. So yeah, that small park. I'm looking forward to that. I think that's a brilliant idea. It's just genius. Making a small park, right in the middle,
geared toward young kids. And you know, they're not going to have. They don't have the exposure, the costs, the liability, and all this for the big giant roller coaster stuff. You know, you can simplify things, and that's a huge family area that will do very, very well.
And plenty of room to expand.
Oh yeah, lots of land.
Yeah, they're good out there. They're good out there. They're going to do their own Walt Disney World for Universal in Texas, and that's the plan. And then, of course, the permanent installation in Vegas, of Hollywood Horror Nights is going to be an interesting project indeed. A lot of those Valiant, have you been to any of those adventure ideas that they've in Vegas now? like the Area 52 and stuff like that?
No, I haven't. It's been a few years. I think the last time I was at Vegas was probably 5-6 years ago.
Okay, yeah, they have this really cool location. I mean, have you ever heard of Meow Wolf?
No.
Okay, you should look that up. They do these really weird adventure art installations.
Okay.
Meow Wolf is part of that particular area, an entertainment complex there. So you should check them out. Meow Wolf is amazing. In Vegas, they have an Omega Mart there it blows your mind. The concept behind what they do is ridiculous, and it entertains you for hours. So, but anyway, the only reason I'm prodding that is because I think Universal is ripe to essentially take away so much market share from Disney that they will become number one. I think that's actually on the table. And I could
the only park that's beating Universal in terms of attendance is the Magic Kingdom itself, at least as of the last data collections. And I suspect that in the next 2 years, we're going to see Magic Kingdom go down because Magic Kingdom has a ton of capacity, right? So one of the things that Epic Universe is going to have is a monster ton of capacity because it is a very large, expansive area of land. There's a lot of stuff that's going in there. And, it is, I think it's bigger than the other 2 existing parks that Universal has now in Orlando.
It is.
So I think they're even putting more Harry Potter stuff in that one.
Yeah, the Ministry of Magic.
It's everything.
Ministry of Magic is going in. Yeah.
So, I mean, they're going to have so much stuff. It's going to be ridiculous.
Well, and consider this: the military contractor from whom they acquired the land that they're currently building that park on seems to be looking for another location to move to.
Speaking of parks, from that park place, we have Mr. Jonas J. Campbell here. How are you doing?
Park him right down there at the bottom.
Hey, buddy.
He's the trunk of the tree.
That's right. The root. How's it going, everybody? I heard some mention. I checked to see if you were still streaming. I heard we're talking about the parks.
Oh,
yeah. He is.
Yeah, we were just discussing a little bit here with the culture and Valiant and Nick and Clobby and CC. And welcome, Jonas, from the Pro show earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for all the people you sent over here. But yeah, we're just talking about all the Disney's ins and outs, and more so outs than anything, I guess. Yeah.
I just spent a week at Universal, and I got to say, they're eating Disney's lunch right now, and they're not even doing an A job over there, and they're doing well. I would say that Disney has an S tier park that they, through their own habits and policies, have turned into a B, and sometimes a C. And Universal has a B or an A, and they're just working harder. They are keeping people's faces out of their phones. It's more fun. They've got all the things that everyone loved about what Disney used to be. They're doing fantastic. I probably could go on for an hour, and I'm not going to do that on your channel. But and this is all before Epic Universe. It's just they have everything that a family would want in a theme park right now, and none of the worry. It's great.
There you go. Well, welcome to the program, my friend, and we're glad to have you join us, even if it is at the tail end. But we got Bryant Barth here, who's been a member for 4 months, and he says, I just watched Superman. How is it that Superman 1978 is so timeless, nobody can beat Christopher Reeve? Richard Donner. Yeah. Richard Donner knew what to do with that. Go ahead, Clobby, please.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead, man.
Oh, no, this is one that's your domain, brother.
Well, it is Donner. Absolutely. It is all stops and starts with Donner. He took a terrible Mario Puzo script and said publicly many times this character should be treated with respect. He's a legend. He's an icon, a fictional icon, and proceeded to do so. Too bad the Salcons messed everything up with all the all the law disputes and stuff. And he went and made a conscious decision to forego all the silliness of casting well-known actors that just, that all these idiots wanted to put in there, and bring in, got to be the best casting choice for a superhero ever. They'll always stand as the best ever with Christopher Reeve. So that's why. Pretty simple stuff, I say. Wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, that's the main thing, is that he, instead of changing Superman, like Mr. Snyder, realize you can't mess with Superman.
Respect
He's
the character.
Americana. He's apple pie. You know, you need to keep him as is. You could change the world around him,
but he needs to stay the same as many.
He needs to stay the same.
That's what brings it back to what I've said a few times, Tom. Superman should be the thing that we aspire to be. Superman shouldn't aspire to be what we are all like.
Exactamundo.
Exactly.
Or
it's not just a set of powers. Sorry, go ahead.
It's the
correctamundo.
Exactly. He's not just a set of powers. He's a set of values as well.
Yeah, he's an alien who, even though he's an alien, he embraces humanity, though he's not from our planet, and he embraces that Americana traditional values because he is the farm boy from Kansas. And yeah, they don't understand that. They just think he can just be Batman with powers, Warner Brothers nowadays. And obviously they are going to continue to fail with that time and time again. That's another reason why it continues to succeed, because it got Superman right. And they had, once again, Christopher Reeve is not just perfect because he's a big guy, but he wasn't like shredded big. He was like farmer boy big. So, and that look fits Christopher Reeve perfectly, and it fits the Superman character perfectly. So yeah, and of course the timeless score. Come on, you're not going to beat that score. There's a reason why Bryan Singer was piggybacking off that score in 2006, because he knew he couldn't do better. And that score to this day,
John Williams had a lot to do with
my
it.
favorite score.
Yeah, I know.
Sander wants to know real quick, because I guess they have both versions right now on Max or HBO Max, whatever it's called anymore. What's the difference between the original cut and the special edition of Superman 78? The special edition is what I call the Donner cut of the Superman film, because that has an extra 30 minutes, something like that.
Like more than that.
It may even be it's just it's nothing groundbreaking, but it really does expand the film. There's some extra stuff in the beginning, in the middle, and then the Lex Luthor stuff. There's more to it. It's just an expanded version of the film. Then there's the 3-hour cut, which is ostensibly the TV version as well.
There are 3 cuts.
So there's technically 3 cuts of Superman. But
Yep. Theatrical, ABC, and Donner.
Yeah, and the ABC version is just the Donner cut is ostensibly the ABC version cut down to his liking.
A little bit, yeah. But he also added a lot of stuff too. It's weird. There's some things in the Donner cut that aren't in the ABC cut. Yeah.
Was there anything different? I thought the ABC cut was exactly the same. Just
the bit with Jarrell, that's Donner. That wasn't an ABC. I mean, the bit later, later, what he talks to him.
You might be right.
When he consults him after he goes out and does all the deeds for the first time after he saves Lois, and the helicopter flies around.
That's only back in the Donner version.
That's Donner.
You might be right.
Wasn't on ABC or theatrical.
You might be right. Because I have the Superman TV cut on Blu-ray, but I believe it's actually missing 5 minutes on top of it all.
Right.
Somebody had said that it's like a later cut that they did.
I went 18 times to the theater in 1979/80, and then when it came on ABC and was 2 nights, over 2 nights, I recorded that and must have watched that I don't know how many times.
Well, and that's where it threw me off for years too, Claw, because my first experience was seeing the TV cut, and they did an even because that's the thing. The version that's on the Blu-ray is the TV cut minus like 5 minutes. Yes. Then they did another TV cut that was a little bit shorter than that, but so they didn't spread it out, I don't think. So I'm trying to remember. I believe the version I had recorded from television would have been mid-'80s, and it was longer than the theatrical cut, but it wasn't the full-on 2-part cut.
He added the big scene walking through the fire and ice and bullets. Yep. That's totally the TV cut.
Yep. That I remember. See, because I remember because the first time I ever bought it on VHS, because I had the TV cut for years. And then Warner had brought out, it must have been 88, 89, probably around the same time. No, maybe it was a little later, probably like 90, 91, 92. Because they brought it out in that big-ass white clamshell with the Warner family label on it. And I'm watching the movie. Yeah, and I'm watching the movie, and I'm like, wait a minute, where's this scene? Wait, hold up, time out. Where's this scene? That was the first time I had ever seen the theatrical cut. I was like, what the fuck is this? And then I learned and this was, of course, before the internet, so I had to kind of learn what the hell happened. But yeah.
Okay, I have to ask because this is the crowd that would know. There's this legend of a scene that was supposedly in the theatrical 1989 cut of Batman running through and then somebody looking up and saying, "Is it Halloween?" This has been I think it's apocryphal. This piece of trivia has been out there for a while, but there are people who attest to seeing this.
I
I don't recall that scene.
I don't think it was in the theatrical cut.
It's not theatrical, and I don't remember
No,
saying
no,
anything
no.
special.
I think what it is, and because I know the trivia you're talking about here, Jonas. I think people have attributed it to it is on the Topps cards, and I have my comic adaptation. I think it's in the Topps the comic adaptation as well, and that's probably why. Where I think people have just kind of in their minds. It's kind of like that ending of Ninja Turtles. For years, people were like, "Oh, I swear that alternate ending was on there." And then when they finally put it on the DVD as a bonus feature, they're like, "Oh, okay, there it is." I guess I never did see it. It's because it's in all the comic adaptations and the cards and everything else. Because it got real late in the game. So I think that would be it. And somebody also said it might have wound up in one of the. It could have wound up in one of the trailers.
It was in a trailer, and it was a deleted scene from the film.
Okay.
See, this is perfect. I've been wondering about that for years.
Comic adaptations always do from early scripts. Sorry, go ahead, Culture.
No, you can actually see the scene. It's on YouTube. You can actually see it, the deleted scene on YouTube if you go looking for Batman '89. So,
yeah, comic adaptations are fun to watch for finding lines that were original script that were left out of. You can find a lot of them in Star Wars and a lot of movies. You can find things in the comic adaptation that were not in the movie.
Yep, and those were kind of like our home video versions back in the day before home video would find, because we'd have to wait forever for the VHS, and back then they didn't have sell-through. So for us, a lot of us, like me, I used to buy the novelizations and the comic book adaptations all the time. A couple of times now I've come on Clobby's. I don't remember, is it on your channel, Nick, or is it on Clobby's with the comic book talk? And I'll show off some of those.
We do it Friday night.
Yeah. Anyway, I've jumped on there a couple times.
Yeah.
And a lot of my comics, as these guys will test, are 90% of them are like movie-based comics. I like the adaptation.
Can confirm. I think you had your outliers were some Ninja Turtles
comic adaptations.
I think that's it.
Well, my kid gave me like a box of Batman comics. And so I got a bunch of Batman comics. And for a while I was on a kick of buying a bunch of Ninja Turtle comics until I realized the IDW comics weren't that great.
Right.
But I try to get the Archie comics and the original ones. The original ones are hard to get your hands on, but yeah.
What was fantastic is if you had a VCR that could record HBO, and on the free preview weekend, what we had was a VHS that started with a pitch for HBO, and then it went to Batman, and then another pitch for HBO, and then Return of the Jedi, and then about the first 45 minutes of Field of Dreams. And that's how we got to watch Batman. You'd never have that again.
No.
One thing about Batman is I remember at the time, that was one of the first times we had a movie that hit home video so soon. People don't remember that. Because it was like less than 6 months.
Quick. That's true.
Yeah, they made sure it was out for Christmas. But anyway, Valiant just sent this in the chat here. What's this about?
Wait, I thought it was.
That's his backyard.
This is This was.
This Victoria showed up in his backyard
out all day. Yeah. This is what I was doing all day. So I get out on a boat and you feed alligators marshmallows. They freaking love them.
They do.
Yes, they do.
Marshmallow roast.
It's one of the best catfish baits too.
It's not wanting to play for some reason.
If you were a tourist, I would be so angry at you. But I know you know what you're doing. I grew up in Florida, and like the tourists like to feed the gators.
They're
totally not wanting.
Oh no, the guy, the boat captain, was feeding him. I mean, he would stick a marshmallow in the end of a stick. The gator would come up and dance up out of the water and eat it like a dog begging. And then he would just huck marshmallows. He'd make them, plap against the water, and the gators would just come flying off the bank and fight each other for it. It's hilarious.
Yeah. See, like somebody who knows what they're doing, it's totally.
That was down in Lafitte this morning. So
let me play it.
Was it an airboat?
Oh shoot. Yeah. Well, we didn't do the airboat because it was a lot of kids. Actually, I'm kind of glad. I thought we were going to do airboats at first, and then I realized, nope, this is better. It's like it was just a giant, 40-person seat pontoon boat.
Oh, okay, so way better.
Yeah,
better.
so we had cover because it got hot today. I mean, it got really hot today for the first time. That's why I'm so exhausted.
It got in the 80s here in Wisconsin, so I would
it was
imagine
91 down here.
Yeah, I was say if it's hot that hot up here, I can only imagine what it's down
It
there.
hit, man, because we had so much rainstorm and it bucked up the humidity. So when I got home and I'm like,
Well,
all
it
right,
just got dark as hell outside, so we're probably getting those storms.
We got some more winter coming through, but
you're in Storm
Yeah, we
Central
do.
right now, Tom. The Omega block just it had a breakthrough. So you're gonna have
No
a
wonder
massive-
it looks like yellow outside. Yeah, it just got real dark.
Oh man, gonna be driving through that all day tomorrow.
I love the storms. I love storms. The only thing I don't like about storms is when it knocks out the internet. Yeah.
I'm sorry,
But you know
it
what?
was playing on my end. I thought I compressed it to send it up through Twitter, but
It'll play. It's weird because it'll play when I hit play in the Twitter, but as soon as I bring it into StreamYard here, it won't play. Like it just freezes.
Yeah,
It's weird.
That's that eat a bag of dicks moment that you get.
Yeah, and then Elon left this morning. That's probably why, for those who may have noticed, that I was in Twitter jail for about 12 hours. I don't even know what the fuck I did. Because that's the hilarious part is this week I've probably been the least active on Twitter in a while. I don't even remember getting into a fight with anybody. Maybe once.
You threw out a can of Bud Light with Dylan's
You're being
picture
too
on it.
I don't remember even saying anything all that.
Tom.
I got into a little spat with an asshole when I was trying to talk to James Gunn, but I don't think that did it because he kept deleting his fucking posts. I'm like, you little pussy. Maybe that's what got it. Because I called him a pussy.
Oh, that will, yeah.
You misgendered him.
I'm thinking he probably reported me, little bastard.
Isn't that more like misspeciesing him?
I should get special treatment though. I have a blue check mark and he don't.
Yeah, I have
Let me see if I can share it from my screen since you were trying to do that way. Let me pull this up.
Yeah,
on my,
please do. Yeah, I like aminals. Then we'll get out of here.
I think I grabbed it right. I've got so many of these things. I had like
Parrot.
two
In the
brand new
meantime, I'll grab
11s
these.
in the car, and I forgot I left them on the front because I was on a conference call.
Parrot had sent us a laptop computer with work on the screen. Thank you so much. Work, baby, work. Then Teague sent us a $2 super chat and says, "Culture, what games are you playing? Wipeout 2048?"
No. Right now I've been obsessed with I don't have a lot of downtime, but I've been obsessed with playing baseball, MLB The Show. So I've been.
There you go.
There we go. Now it's playing. Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, watch, it gets fun.
It's a gator.
It's a baby.
I haven't really done any.
ActionCom wants to know if you saw any pythons in Florida.
He's the big one.
I haven't been to Florida.
Those aren't even big
Really?
gators.
Marshmallow.
It's a cute gator. So I can't never remember what's the difference between a gator and a crocodile. Is it their nose shape or whatever?
Teeth.
Nose shape.
Is it teeth? And the teeth.
Yeah.
What's the difference? Go ahead.
Go ahead,
Get
guy.
in marshmallow fight. You hear them growl.
Only one will eat marshmallows. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, the difference is one will see you later and one will see you after a while.
That's what I was waiting for.
You know what,
Mama
Jonah?
said Gator's upset because he's got all those teeth and don't have no toothbrush.
Oh wait, you
Oblongata.
you laughing? They played half the soundtrack of Waterboy on that boat as we were cruising.
Did they really?
I shit you not. They were playing.
That's good.
It was the funniest thing, and I'm sitting there going, like, eventually I think the captain kind of figured out, oh, you know, all these people from Louisiana. And it's like, yeah, we know. He's talking about hurricanes at one point, like we'd never seen them before. Like, we're
I mean, really, I figure all you guys do listen to down there is, just Jerry Reed and the Waterboy soundtrack, I'd imagine.
yeah, that's Jackson's Bayou.
A lot of Jerry
Louisiana,
Reed, yeah.
Eastbound and down.
They call him Amos Moses.
Oh boy.
Oh man.
Down in the bayou. Yes, sir. Well, thank you for that, Culture. That was nice. Valiant. That was a nice little piece of culture, I should say.
Yeah, you never say nice things to me. I'm surprised you actually put
that was an accident.
Yeah.
I got to pull the GoPro footage off because we stopped at City Park on the way home, and that's when the heat. I was like, oh my god, it's 92, 93 degrees in the sun, and it didn't hit me because like it hadn't been that hot in a while. Till I got in the car and I'm driving home, and I'm like, dude, I don't feel good because we just ate like a whole big old lunch at Junior's in New Orleans on Harrison Avenue. Before that, then we went out in the heat. I was like, oh, that was a
Some
mistake,
po' boys.
man.
Po' boys.
No, not at Junior's. It's
Oh, what do they got at Junior's?
well, it's kind of like a diner, but I had this cheeseburger thing, and Renegade Junior had the fried chicken sandwich they do, which is amazing. So it's this all New Orleans stuff, but
They have a diner there that I really love. It's right by the big ass hotel that's near the Harrah's. And is it called Mother's or something like that?
Mother's, yeah.
Yeah, they got great po' boys.
Mother's is famous for their roast beef, along with like Paran's and Parades and some of the other guys out there that do. Oh yeah, man, there's some. I mean, they should do a roast beef po' boy, bracket like they do with king cakes every Mardi Gras for all the restaurants. $1 million idea right there. But
and that place is jammed too. If you ever try to eat at Mother's, like you better stand in line.
I forget. Yeah, no. Everybody who goes there knows they stand in line.
Babo Yogi sent us a super chat here and says, just saw Sisu. Holy hell, must see a real movie. Does anybody on the panel see this yet?
Yes.
I haven't seen it yet. I hear good things though, so I'll probably see it this weekend.
Excellent.
Yep. Probably see it.
Haven't got a chance yet, but I will.
John Wick runs around the countryside and kills Nazis.
I think Andre saw it already.
It's a simple concept and it works so well.
Our boy Comics gave that very similar review. Valiant, he just kind of killed me.
That's right, Comics saw it. I know one thing we will be seeing. We'll be seeing you guys real soon.
Oh yeah,
because we got to go here. CC Karaoke, what you got coming up here? Tell the folk.
Provided we pull it off technically, tonight should be the first live venue karaoke on the channel, coming up in about 90 minutes. Live from the Baltic Kiss.
Interesting. All right. Check that out. Kalabby, what do you got going on?
At 9 Central, the clubhouse with wonderful Raquel and my good buddy Mark D with the C, the chief engineer. And Saturday night Star Trek, same clubby time, same Trek channel, or vice versa. 9 p.m. Central. 4 more episodes of Star Trek Deep Space Nine. So thank you, buddy. Thanks for having me. I'm honored to be here.
Brought to you by Priceline.com.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here, Klobby. Nick, what do you got coming up?
Comic Shop Top tomorrow night, of course. Looking forward to it. Another video in the works as well. And I'm finally going to I have merch ideas I'm looking at. And there's more of an interest for it than I honestly thought there would be. Wow, so now sweet. I got to get more things going. So and some of those things I'll be giving out in Dallas for free. So if you come to the Dallas meetup, there will be some freebies courtesy of yours truly. And otherwise, for those who don't, they'll be for part of the memberships.
And I actually have an image for you, Nick, that I'll send you.
Ooh, yeah.
But speaking of images, the Dallas meetup is a thing I would like to promote, which I am going to be giving away the. Oh my goodness!
I can't wait.
Yeah, these are free stickers. If you show up in Dallas at the meetup,
you better send me some of those.
You'll get one.
When is that?
Coming up the 8th of June.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's right before Fan Expo Dallas. So at Fan Expo Dallas starts on the 9th. It looks like there's going to be a panel. So you might get some might get some folks talking about things. So there you are. And of course, obviously, Nick and I and Tom and some other people might be headed over to Comics Division's channel to do the Thursday Night Throwdown. So there you are. So if you're not into singing with like this amazing human up here, you can listen to us make asses out of ourselves. It'll be fun.
Notice how this little fucker snuck in too, because I was going to make him go last. Valiant, what do you got going on?
Well, tonight I am going to get some long overdue sleep, but I do have and Jonas. I didn't expect to be out 12 hours today, but Jonas has done some great stuff helping me out here, clipping from the live show yesterday. So that video that I was going to try to get to this evening and just was impossible, being gone 12 hours today. That's probably going to be out tomorrow. Just the reaction of when Bob Iger just went off the rails again, and even worse than what he did during the annual stockholder meeting, just compounding the stupidity of that. So we'll have that clip tomorrow out on the channel. I've got some. I will be addressing the whole Little Mermaid, Grace Randolph. I'm sick of all this shit thing. So, any case, that will be probably this weekend, and then of course I'm debating what to do this Sunday with the live show, just because it's Mother's Day. I stay tuned. I'll let you know if we go with it. It might start a little bit later. Because I know we have a family function that afternoon, or we might just take the Sunday off. I don't know yet.
Let me know, because I do plan on streaming. So,
okay, yeah, definitely. If I wind up pulling the plug and taking the Sunday off, I'll let you know. Hop into the slot and handle it.
We'll do something.
Yeah.
We'll do something. Maybe we'll talk about the best moms in cinema history or something.
Ooh.
And spoilers: the answer is a tie between Sarah Connor and Mrs. Voorhees. And you want to know why? Because both are the only mothers that I can think of that will kill for their sons.
Well, what about Meredith Baxter Burney?
What did she kill in?
I don't know. You don't know.
Has she killed somebody for her kids?
She's in an awful lot of mom movies.
Well, so is Dee Wallace, but she almost won. She almost got in there, but she just killed a dog.
Okay, well, what about Michael Keaton? Because he was Mr. Mom.
Mr. Mom, that works.
We'll have to talk about that. That's a plausibility. That's a wild card contender. I think we got a show here. Anyway, so yes, Valiant, you already ran your business. So Jonas, what have you got going on?
Oh, nothing much. I'm of course I was on the pro show earlier today.
You had a new video today. Don't give me that crap.
It was yesterday, but yeah.
Yesterday.
This I can say drag on this channel, and it's
yes, you can.
Sure. But I did everything woke about the Star Wars Celebration drag panel, and I just ripped it to shreds in the most terms of service friendly way possible. I went through the most ridiculous thing I have ever seen associated with the Walt Disney Company. An all ages corporate run fan convention that's sponsored. I mean, just the whole idea that this is a Fortune 500 company putting forward this ridiculous gender bending nonsense. It's so bad, it's laughable. But the video, I think, is good.
There you go. And by the way, if you're not watching Jonas's videos on everything woke, because he's got a series of them now, you're missing out, because it's just brilliant. And he will painstakingly remove any thoughts that you have that Disney might be an okay company. You will definitely be you will be convinced that they are anti-family, anti-American, neo-Marxists.
And mostly I do it by putting forward their ideas.
Indeed.
The number of people who have said they didn't really do that. I'm like, I just showed you the clip where they did that.
All right. Well, thank you so much, guys, for making this a great show. Take care of yourselves and each other. And until then, act naturally.
Hey, excuse me. Nada. Are you doing dishes? I hope so.
I love it.